I'm Alex Quirk. I produce dubstep music and DJ.
My name is Julee Feltz. I'm a sophomore physicist at Westmont, and I'm in the orchestra and the choir. Just a lot of computerized noises with a really catchy beat.
The musical theory is obviously very simple in dubstep music. Over the past couple of years, a lot of genres of electronic music have kind of all fallen under the same, have all been started to call dubstep, I guess. People just call it dubstep, you know, because they don't know better, or because, you know, honestly, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, like, if you're a stickler about genres, then you need to find something else to be passionate about. Traditional dubstep is more mellow and, you know, it's really minimal as well, you know, just like simple percussion and then, you know, maybe like a upper register synth or some kind of hook, you know, and then just like a wobbling bass line. The main characterizing factors of true dubstep music is like a cut time feel, you know, like a slow tempo. Like technically it's a faster tempo, generally around 145 beats per minute. But it's also cut time, so it's like boom, chick, you know. And then the other main factor of dubstep music is a really low sub bass, which is typically between like 35 and 45 hertz, you know. So like when it's played in a big venue, you know, you feel it in your chest, you know, you feel it like pushing on your head. Most of what I've done is actually along the lines of like electro house and moombahton. I definitely err on the side of more melodic and less transformers eating each other and like monsters fighting and stuff. That's not as much my style, but you know, I'll play it if that's what people like, and they do like that. So it started, you know, in the UK garage scene, I guess, with just like, you know, like trap beats almost, or like you know, break beats, basically created with the advent of you know, digital production techniques. I mean, it's fairly new and it hasn't really been popular. I mean, obviously it's just getting popular, you know, in the past like 3 or 4 years, and now, you know, it's played on the radio and everything even. So the most famous bro step artist would be Skrillex. And his Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites EP, which was released in 2000. It was beginning of my freshman year, so it must have been 2010, maybe? Latter half of 2010. Was kind of like the big EP that garnered mainstream attention to dubstep music, especially the title track, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. And after that, that kind of caught people's attention, and dubstep started to be played in clubs and you know, larger shows rather than in just underground parties and stuff. I've written a lot of different types of music, and I'd say it's the same mindset as writing any kind of music. You know, the same mindset as playing piano. It's the same mindset as, you know, composing for orchestra or whatever. Obviously, it's a totally different skill set, you know, because I mean, half the art is in the production, you know, whereas, you know, if you're writing just like music for piano or vocals or whatever, it's all just in the way you play it and you know, the music. You know, they listen to this music and they think, oh, I mean, there's no music there. It's just a bunch of random sounds, you know, and with some drums in the background. And that's true, you know. It is just kind of random sounds with drums in the background. But I mean, it's all intentional as well, you know. It's produced for a reason, and it may sound random, but it's, you know, it's hard to get to that point where things can sound clean and aggressive and punch really hard, but also sound, you know, dirty, you know, or whatever. So I think there's definitely an art there in the actual like technical production that occurs to make dubstep music and all electronic music.
Definitely young people. I've heard that people over 30 really just have an aversion to it because they also think it sounds like garbage, but I think it's also for people with maybe less refined tastes.
most shows are 18 and over, so the audience is like generally between like 18 and 25 years old, guys and girls. But it's also popular with like a younger crowd. You know, there's all ages shows as well. Older ravers and people who are into electronic music who are, you know, maybe in their 30s or 40s, like my sister, who got me into electronic music. In my experience, aren't quite as into dubstep. It's not a scene that is conducive to artistic pursuits, I guess. It's more of a scene for people who, you know, just want to have a crazy time and want to do drugs and want to dance.
Well, I think it was more just assimilating to the culture of other young people my age. Initially, I was really opposed to it because it just sounded like garbage at first, but I think because of the mere exposure effect, the longer you're surrounded by something, it becomes more palatable and then eventually even likable. I like it because, unlike other dance music, the only way to correctly dance to it is just to flail all of your limbs at once, and it's a really freeing experience, which I think is why it's been associated a lot with, or is at least synonymous with, rave culture, which is why the whole peace, love, ecstasy thing happens a lot at raves, along with dubstep music.
It's really a social music, you know? It's not like... It's a music that you want to enjoy with friends, I think.
Definitely not. My staples are a lot of jazz classics, mostly Ellington, but I also listen to a lot of Chopin and Ravel and Debussy and other classical romantic era composers.
I think that the music wouldn't exist if there wasn't if there weren't large venues for it to be performed at. You know, if it was just something that people listen to on their iPods or like on their computer speakers, I don't think it would be nearly as popular. I think when people get hooked on it is when they go to a show and they experience it where the music is meant to be performed, you know, which is in a huge system, you know, it's really loud, it has a lot of bass, you know, that's what the music is designed for, you know, that's why it's produced, is to wow people in a big system like that. Probably my favorite dubstep artist is Nero. They're from UK. They've been around for quite a while too. I would say as far as dubstep music goes, their you know, musical theory or whatever is maybe a tiny bit more advanced. As far as their sound design goes too, are maybe a little bit more creative and experimental than a lot of just the generic stuff that's being released now.
Well, my favorite band is Adventure Club. I saw them in Santa Barbara, and it was a fantastic experience. It was a little grungy. There was a lot of sketchy characters there, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed the music. It was kind of a transcendental experience being there at the front row, right there with the band.
It's definitely a fad, I think, that's gonna fade pretty soon here. In my opinion, you know, like the underground electronic music scene is generally, you know, a year or two ahead of what's popular, what's playing on the radio, what's playing in bigger clubs. And, you know, in the underground scene, dubstep is definitely already out.
I definitely agree with that. I think music comes and goes in fads, and there's the peaks and valleys of each trend, where this is popular in the early 2010s, and I think will definitely die out before 2020, when something else that the cool kids on the block are making.
When it comes right down to it, you know, there's only so much dubstep music you can listen to, especially the stuff that's being released now, you know. A lot of it sounds pretty similar, you know, it's just boom, 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 you know, with like a, you know, like going in, and it's like, cool, that's cool, you know, for maybe, you know, like going to a show, listen to a couple dubstep songs, you know, but it gets old after a while, which is why I'm not really, you know, producing as much as I was. You just get tired of it, at least I did, and I think that people will move on, you know. But I think dubstep as a genre is definitely already on its way out, and has been on its way out for a while now.
Wow, 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 pew, wow, 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 drop the bass. Wow, wow, pew, 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 wow, 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 something like that.
Okay.